company called Genuinely You. Gina, over to you. Please share with us, what is your vision of the kind world?
Good morning.
Hello there, and thank you very much for inviting me to today's event. You know, kindness is one of those things that you don't really appreciate it very often until you haven't got it. And kindness, I think, is something that this world needs now, probably as much as has at any time in history. You've only got to look at the news to go onto social media. And I want to talk to you about how we can leave a living legacy by the way in which we are kind. Before I go into that, I want to make the distinction between being kind and being overindulgent. And I think it's really important to recognize that kindness doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to say yes to everything. It doesn't mean that you've got to give lots of gifts. Kindness for me is something very different. Kindness is about really valuing yourself and others. And with that value, recognizing that sometimes you need to have the hard conversations, but you do it from a place of love, not from fear or from any other negative emotion. Because when you love unconditionally, you're not expecting a return. You're doing it because you know it's the right thing to do. And I think one of the challenges that we have in our society at the moment is so many people believe that being kind is being overindulgent. And whether that's, you know, our diet or allowing ourselves to get away with things that we know are not in line with our values, I think it's important to recognize that kindness means that we want the best of ourselves and for ourselves, and we want the best from other people and for other people. And so that means saying to somebody, do you know what? I think that you're better than this. I have real confidence and faith in you. And to that end, I want to see you doing even better than you are now. Presupposition with even better. It's not bad, but it could be better. So my first rule of kindness is to really think about, are these acts of kindness to yourself or other people being truly kind in the short, medium, and long term, or are they being overindulgent? The second strand that I want to explore with you today is that around legacy. And there's so much spoken about legacy when you die. You know, who are you going to leave your money to? What will people remember you for? What will be on your epitaph, if you like? But I don't think it's sensible to wait until you die. I think we all leave a living legacy moment by moment in the way in which we speak and the way in which we act. And I use a very simple example, because every word we speak, how and when we speak it or whether we say it at all, every action we take, when and how we take it and whether we do it at all, leaves a living legacy. So I use one very simple word, and I want you to listen to this and think about, how does the tone of voice that I use make you feel? Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a great deal to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Ouch.
We use tonality to give words huge meaning. And so many people get caught up in this habitual pattern, which doesn't cross their conscious mind at all. 95% of the time, 95% of people are working automatically from their habitual unconscious state. And the problem with that is they then get triggered by other people's tonality or other people's words or other people doing something. But it's not about what's going on in that moment. It's what's going on or what's gone on previously. So somebody uses that tone of voice and it tips them back to being a teenager and their mum nagging them endlessly about their bedroom or not doing the homework, or an unkind teacher, a critical teacher saying something to them. And so instead of listening to the words, the tonality of their voice tips them back into being a teenager. And so instead of answering in a reasonable way, they go back to that teenager place where ugh and, growling was their default place. And so they then respond in a way that then triggers the other person, because they too have had experience of people, responding to them in perhaps a not a positive way. And so it triggers them. And then they re-trigger one another. And before you know where you are, there's a full-scale row. How many times have you had a tiff with someone, and when you've actually got to the end of it, both of you look at each other and think, how did that happen? Where did that start? And it started because we are using a tone of voice or a pattern of behavior that triggers other people. So if you're going to be kind, if you're going to see kindness as one of your core values, then part of this is about being conscious about the way in which you think, speak, and act. And in doing so, you can choose to leave a living legacy. So when you're critical to other people, even when you believe you have every reason to hold them to account, you can do it in a way that diminishes them, or you can do it in a way that builds them up. So a diminished one is, it's a stupid idiot. What on earth did you do that for? One that builds is, I just want you to think about what you've done. Do you think that's the most sensible way you could have done it? Or is that in line with, what we've asked you to do? Let's have a look at that. How could we do that better in the future? Now, it takes a bit more time, but if you're a parent, a partner, a friend, a business leader, recognizing that the legacy that you choose to create is a powerful one, and one that will make a difference to you and your staff, your children, your partner, but be conscious about what you do. In fact, take radical responsibility for everything you say and do. Radical responsibility for your beliefs. Are they empowering you, or are they keeping you playing small? Because if you allow your beliefs to keep you playing small, you're not being kind to yourself, because you're not truly being who you're meant to be. So these are a bit like the strands of a piece of material. They're like the weft and the warp. They infiltrate every area of your life. Are you taking radical responsibility for your thoughts? Because if you want a better quality of life, you need to think better thoughts. Are you taking radical responsibility for your beliefs? Have you done an audit of those recently? Which are the ones that are really empowering you and helping you move forward? If you're talking about being a business owner, how are you modeling taking radical responsibility for your staff? Because you have to be the role model. Being conscious about how you operate in the world is so important, and making kindness part of that even more so. Taking radical responsibility for everything you say or do or think or not, for me, is a game changer. Because while you allow other people to determine how happy, how successful you are, you're going to be completely under their control. They have the power to determine what sort of day you're having. But if you take radical responsibility for your emotions, then you decide. And I think that's a huge kindness to yourself. And incidentally, because you're better in control of your emotions, not only is it a kindness to yourself, but it's a kindness to the people who spend time with you, because you will be much less likely to fly off the handle.